Sorry, my puppies just saw a squirrel, so they are like, they are based on barking. Okay, I just want to come on and do a really fast live. I know meal planning is something people think is like a pain and they don't want to do it, but I promise you, taking the time, just a little bit of time, will save you so much time, because then you don't have to think during the week what you're going to make, what you're going to get ready. You've seen the meme that, you know, nobody ever told you that the hardest part of being an adult is figuring out what to eat for dinner every night. It's kind of true. And sometimes we all get in a rut. But I just want to share some of the things that I do when I meal plan. And the first thing I do is, one, I try and set aside a few minutes of time to do it. If you have more time, you can plan more than a week. You can plan 2 months if you really want to go that far and just knock it out. I know that I'm going to the grocery store to get some things tomorrow, so I always do my meal planning the day before the grocery trip, because it's too much for me to do it all at one time. I'm going to turn my camera around. I want to show you a couple things. Okay, so these are reusable wet erase boards, and they are reusable and they're sticky on the back. So I take these and I stick them up on my fridge. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and I have 2 weeks that I found one that I liked. There's a couple of them out there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down with my Google Calendar. That's how I keep track of everything. And I'm going to write down any of the days where I know there are activities and things and I'm not going to have time to cook. So those, it might be a day we do a healthier takeout, or it might be a day when my husband cooks, or sometimes it's a day when I use the crock pot. You can make a lot of nice things in the crock pot. It doesn't all have to be boring food, and you can make a lot of nutritious food in the crock pot. It's really easy. The other thing I like to do is like dump and bake, or like freezer meals that I can either make ahead and keep in my freezer and just heat and eat. We do that a lot when we go camping. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll mark those days on my dry erase sheets here, so that I know here are the days when I am not going to have the time or the energy to cook. It's just not going to happen. And I'll pick out some meals for those days that require less prep, or meals that I can prep ahead. And then the next thing I'm going to do is fill in the rest of my meals. The other thing I do, and I'll show you, is I have a whole collection of cookbooks. And this is the 30-day meal plan and cookbook that my clients get as a gift when they work with me individually. This is something that I use as well. And inside here, I'll show you. And that's a picture of me. Inside here, let me get to one of the pages, are meal plans. So there are very detailed meal plans for each week. So if you have a meal plan that you like, you don't have to necessarily stick 100% to this. You can use this as a guide. So this meal plan in particular is set up as 6 small meals, but you know, I kind of go back and forth on how I feel about the 6 small meals, because I feel like if you're a person who is struggling with diabetes or insulin resistance, sometimes having the 6 small meals can help stabilize the blood sugar, and other times it can be very aggravating to your pancreas to be constantly having to digest and process food. So it kind of depends on where you're at, which way is better. So what I do with this is I generally go through and I combine meals and just make it like 3 meals a day. Now my kids, I don't have to worry about feeding them in the breakfast and lunch categories. They take care of themselves. So it's usually dinner that's the big debate at our house. So what I'll do after I schedule those days where I know I'm not going to have cooking is I'll go through and schedule any of the other meals and things that I want to put. And I like to rotate the menu, and we do try and do vegetarian once or twice a night in our home. And we try to make meat part of the meal, but not all of the meal. So you want to go 80% plant, based if you can, but it's a slow process, little steps, little steps. Right now we're working on trying to get some more seafood into our diet. Seafood is something that I don't particularly like, but I cannot argue with the tremendous amount of benefits it has. So if you have an awesome seafood recipe, please share it on the page. So if you sit down with some kind of an organized system, some recipes and things that you like, your calendar, so you can incorporate that. The other thing I do is if I use a recipe from a book, I make a note on this organizing sheet. Where was that recipe? What page was it on? And sometimes if I'm, feeling like I need extra reminders, I'll write reminders, on the calendar here the day before, whatever, to thaw out meat. You could use your phone for that also. And then the last thing I have, which I can't show you because it's on my phone, is my grocery app. So I just make my grocery shopping list at the same time I'm doing my meal planning. I'm going to put my order in and I will pick up the groceries the next day. I have totally fallen in love with the order ahead and pick up at the grocery stores for a variety of reasons. It saves me so much stress and time. And honestly, when you go into the grocery stores, I don't know about where you're at, but where I'm at, you can't hardly find any checkers or anybody anyway. So you end up checking yourself out. And if you're buying a large order, then it's really no fun to use the self-checkouts. You might as well, get the pre-order and pick up, and then they just load in your car and you can go home and take it home. That way you don't have to go in the store. But that's a really, really quick overview of how I do meal planning, and it really does make a big difference. I haven't done any meal planning for a couple weeks, and that means my nutrition has not been 100% where I want it to be, and that means my health is not where I want it to be. So we have to be diligent, and you have to decide to make an investment in yourself and your time. So if you have questions about meal planning or other tips or tricks or things that you want to share with the group, sorry, don't know if you can hear that, go ahead, please share them in the group. And like I said, if you have any great seafood recipes, please share them. I want the page to be a community for everybody to share and collaborate together. So hope you guys all have a great day. Take care.